All right, so we're finally back. It's been a minute. Unfortunately, last week I got sick, so it kind of pushed this whole thing back, which sucks because it also pushed back getting the frame and all the little goods that I had taken apart off this thing powder coated. So basically, I have to have this thing built up by tonight and ready to ride tomorrow. The event that I keep talking about that I'm gonna be riding this thing at it's an event that Twitch is hosting. He posts on his Instagram, so I'll look for some info. If I find any, I'll put it on the screen now. But yeah, it's essentially a straight rhythm 110 race or mini bike race. I don't know if 50s are allowed or whatever, but yeah, that's basically what I've been building this thing up for. I've been wanting to build this up anyways, or tear it down to build it up, but this whole event just seemed like a good, I don't know, excuse to get down to business and kind of have a due date for it, even though the due date is pretty much a crunch time for me. So I also got the, went a little overboard and had the header for the Yoshimura pipe polished. Something that I've been wanting to do on my big bikes, so I went ahead and I'm gonna try it on this. This is stainless, so it's gonna polish a little better, I think, than titanium. I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure, but the next tie pipe that I get for like a big bike, I wanna try and do the same thing too, because actually Twitch is the one that has one on his bike, by the way, excuse how dirty this bike is. And I mean, it's not Yoshimura's fault. They use, you know, the best materials in the game, but also when they get hot and a little faded like that, I feel like they get pitted up and don't look as good as if you were to get them polished from the start. So I'm gonna start doing this to my bikes. I just found a local polishing shop down the street that did it for, this only cost me 40 bucks. So that was really cool. And then all the powder coat I had done by a company called Specialized. They're in Huntington Beach, so if you're local to them, I'd highly suggest going to them. Their turnaround time's super quick, and as you'll see when I unwrap this stuff, it's really high quality coating. So stoked to have those guys a part of this whole build and helping me out a little bit. And then I also went down the street and got the BBR clamp anodized. So clamps anodized. Turned out awesome too. And I'm gonna unbox all this stuff real quick right now, but got the suspension back. Last thing I need to do, I got graphics over here from my guys over at Moto Cuts. Throw those things on. And also, I still haven't put my Thrill Seeker seat cover on, so that shouldn't take too long though. It's just minor stuff. But again, I have to have this thing built by tomorrow, so this is a definite crunch time. So we're gonna go ahead, throw this thing on the tripod. I think I'm gonna unbox this stuff so you guys can see it real quick. Kind of lay it all out so you can get a visual before I start rebuilding it and go from there. Also, real quick before I start all this, I wanted to say, if you're watching right now, go ahead and subscribe. Also, I put a bunch of new stuff up on my merch website. So these are two pieces that I added, the two builds that I've done before, which are the 252 stroke for straight rhythm and then the 450L build, which are both right there. Went ahead and had these things made into some stickers, so they turned out awesome. My buddy over at 10 Designs printed them up for me. Also, we have the new Life of Steve hoodie. I know a lot of people really love that character, so we went ahead and made that into a sweatshirt and had it printed up. Turned out awesome. And then another thing was the socks that we just had made, so I'll throw those on the screen right now and throw all the links in the bio so you guys can go check those out. But let's get to some unboxing really quick. Okay, so real quick, I'll just show this again. This is the header that I got polished. Nothing too spectacular, just a stainless steel Yoshimura header that is now gonna shine. I'm also getting my fingerprints on it right now, so before I get this thing hot and started up, I'm definitely gonna have to clean this off, get all the fingerprints off so it looks real nice when it gets heated up. Again, all this stuff I got done at Specialized Powder Coating. I'll link them again in the bio, or go check it out in the bio. But yeah, super high quality stuff. And my main thing was like I was on such a time crunch with being sick and having to get this done for tomorrow that these guys definitely delivered when I needed them to. So. All right, so here's the two main pieces. You can tell I went with a pretty glossy finish on the powder coating and everything's super even. This whole thing turned out amazing, so I'm really happy with the quality, really happy with the color on this thing. And here's the swing arm. I could bore you with unwrapping all this stuff, but I'm not going to. So just thought I'd show the frame unwrapping and the swing arm. Again, this is a BBR swing arm. You can kind of see the logo right there. I also have some logos, just stickers to put back on there. So definitely gonna throw those back on. I really like this swing arm because being, you know, like an adult riding a mini bike, being heavy or light, no matter what, I mean, I'm an adult, so I'm definitely putting a lot more load than these bikes were originally intended for. I'm sure the stock stuff could take it, but better safe than sorry, so I went with this BBR swing arm. So pretty excited to get this thing back together. It's gonna be coming faster than I had originally anticipated, just because we are on a time crunch. But last thing I gotta unbox is the suspension, which I'm really excited to show you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead, put this thing back on the tripod and undo that thing, and then I'll just kind of unwrap that stuff off camera. I mentioned in my other video that I was getting these done by SGB. They do really coatings of all kinds and do some pretty awesome work too. So being this is my first build that I'm not using anything Showa or KYB directly related, where I can get like the actual factory parts per se, I thought we'll test it on the 110 because I definitely want to use these guys in the future. They do really, really cool work. And damn, they killed it on these things. So really happy I hit these guys up, and really happy that they were so responsive to help me out. This is a powder coated lower with a DLC coated top, which is a little aggressive for 110, but at the same time, I just really wanted to keep it in the black theme. Man, this looks crazy. So really excited to see this all coming together with the clamps over there, the frame over here. Unfortunately, didn't have enough time to get the motor done black. I know I mentioned in the other video that I wanted to get these side casings done, but I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get the gaskets in time to reseal it. And I didn't know about this rubber around the shift shaft. So that's gonna have to be saved for a later date, and we're just gonna have to work with what we got for now. We're already on a big enough time crunch, so I'm glad I didn't get that stuff done because I would have had even more stuff to do on my hands. But yeah, I'm gonna lay all this stuff out, get it all unpackaged, and I'll show you guys when I'm done. All right, so here it is all laid out. We got all these shiny gloss OEM parts as well as the BBR stuff. And yeah, it looks insane all laying here together. The only thing missing that I'm gonna go pick up in the morning, which is a very last minute thing because I had to drop them off so late, were the wheels. So I'm gonna go with an all black set of wheels from W. I'm really excited to see how those things turned out. I've been getting some pictures here and there, and the updates look awesome. So definitely show you guys that tomorrow. Obviously gonna have to make a second video on this thing tomorrow, but yeah, for right now, just gonna kind of figure out order operations in my head right now. And I'll update you guys as I go. But first things first, I think I'm gonna throw the frame back on the engine and then maybe move my way to the swing arm. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. And like I said, just keep you guys updated as I go. All right, so I got the frame back on the motor. I realized before I get too far ahead of myself that I needed to put the foot peg mount back on, which I also had done this gloss black, as well as the foot pegs themselves. These are, I didn't check the comments to see if anybody was asking about these, but these are just the standard like IMS 50/110 foot pegs. It's just kind of like a generic foot peg, but I always loved having these, just a little bit extra platform for, you know, larger feet than the stock little tiny ones. So went ahead and put those back on, and that's pretty much it. Just got this thing a little bit more buttoned up. Oh, and also put the kickstand back on. Since I kind of ride this thing around town, I also want to have the kickstand for, I don't know, just easy access to parking and stuff. But also, one thing that I forgot to mention, because I kind of took it apart after the last video, when I took the foot peg mount off, if you remember, like back in the day, people going pretty big on these things, the foot peg mount would rip right out the bottom of the cases, and it was kind of a pain in the ass because you had to like re-tap and put bigger bolts underneath there. So those were actually already loose on mine, and I've only ridden this thing a handful of times. So definitely tip of the day, I guess you could call it, is definitely check those bottom bolts to make sure they're tight. I think it's just like a 12 mil and there's 4 of them. So definitely use my, I don't know, not misfortune because it didn't happen. They just were a little loose, but definitely go check those if you have a 110. Little progress report. We got the shock on. This is just like an eBay shock. It says DNM. I don't know. See it in there. If it'll focus. DNM. I don't know. I think I got it off eBay. The only reason I got it was because it was sprung to like 140 to 160 pounds, and then it had like a little adjuster right here. But I got that like tip from a friend of mine who swore by it, so I don't know, we'll see how it works. I kept the stock shock that came on this thing, so if that thing blows out or we have any issues with it, I'll just get it another BBR rear shock spring for it, because I don't want to change the ride height of this thing, and that same eye-to-eye length is definitely going to be key in keeping this thing low, because I like hitting like BMX jumps on it, and I don't want to take that away when I like get too much travel, or I don't know, I want it to be stiff too. So yeah, make it feel like a little bit of a supercross bike. But yeah, I think I already showed the peg stuff. I got the rear brake on there. This spring's kind of a pain to get wrapped back around the little set piece right here, but got that, got the Kickstarter back on, which this is kind of pointless. I was thinking about that when I was putting on having the electric start. I mean, I guess it's good to have it on there still, but I hate this little shaft right here. So it'd kind of be nice to delete that. I don't know if you guys know of a delete kit, that'd be kind of cool. I do want to get the motor done black eventually, so maybe when I do that, I'll have that swapped out for something else, because it's kind of annoying. It's kind of like an ankle ball buster, like being so close to your shoe right there. So yeah, I'd like to delete that. Got the BBR swing arm on. I still need to put the graphics on these things, just like a cool little BBR sticker that goes on there. This red hardware is really cool. Very, very simple to take the bearings in and out of to get the powder coat done. Just had to make sure the powder coat are new to mask those off to get those back in, so I don't have to chase any holes or chase any threads or anything like that. But so far so good, looking good. I don't really know, again, I'm kind of new to this, so I don't really know what to go from here. I talked about putting the wiring back on right now, but I might go ahead and put the headset and the clamps back on for now, just because I know like some of the wiring wraps through there, but I don't know. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and put the wiring on now and kind of see where that leads us to. So as I'm putting most of the wiring back together, I still have to plug in some of this stuff, but got, you know, the general layout of the wiring harness ran through where it's supposed to go. This is fuel stuff, and then I got all the throttle body stuff hooked up and wrapped around to the other side, into the spark plug, whole deal. I don't even know what to call that, so I'm not even gonna try. But started putting these things back together. Again, the fit and finish of these things is amazing. So I went ahead and started putting these top two, or where like the bars would go, into the posts up here before I tighten these things down, because I'm trying to get these things kind of straight with the holes where they're supposed to go. Could throw a bar in there, but I think I'll be just fine just putting these in. And then I'm gonna go ahead and throw on the front end. So definitely coming along pretty quick. I was kind of worried about time, but definitely think we're gonna make the deadline. So yeah, continuing on, I'm gonna finish plugging in all the rest of the wiring harness, finish the front end, and then I'll update you guys in a second. I'm really excited to get this pipe on, but I don't want it to hit the stand, because the header's like, the bottom part of the header is like the lowest point of the bike. So, but I think that's really gonna pop with that whole polished look. So we'll update you guys here in just a minute. But definitely coming along as fast as I'd like it to, and it's not even that late yet. So yeah, I still have all tomorrow, which didn't want to use tomorrow, but I'm gonna have to with the whole wheel situation. So get as far as we can tonight, and then oh, I gotta do the seat too. And oh, I forgot to show you guys. So I can't find plastics for these things anywhere. So I had, this is actually a car wrap. Oh, this is actually a car wrap that I had done. Just because I hate when the edges are black when you put the graphics on. Obviously the hole, you kind of have to have that, but backs of them are still white. But yeah, I think it's gonna look sweet with graphics on top of the car wrap. But just a little outside the box thinking. I still want to get like an all red set or an all black set of plastics. This thing looks absolutely insane in the front. There's so much black going on. I think I want to run to the hardware store and get some black Allens for the top clamp and the bottom clamp, make it all match. So might do that in the morning, but just kind of running with what I got right now. But it's coming along really awesome. Every time I step back and look at this thing, I kind of smile. So really happy with it. Another thing that I was kind of curious as I was building this thing up were these bars. These are the XR50 bend from Pro Taper. I had mentioned that I had the DRZ KLX 110 and now CRF 110 bend before, and they're slightly lower and a little wider, I think. Definitely wider this way. I ended up cutting mine down like all the way to the 4th notch on the other set of bars. I was kind of worried about running these bars with this clamp because where the clamp mounts to the fork in relation to where the bar mount is, it's a lot higher. So I was kind of worried that it was gonna be too high, but I just grabbed the seat and threw it on a quick second ago. Obviously not gonna be running this seat because gotta throw my Thrill Seekers cover on there. But just for mock-up reasons, like the way that this, like where you're actually gonna sit or be standing most of the time versus where the bar height is actually pretty perfect. So I'm pretty happy with this bar selection. If it gets more, when the wheels get on and when I ride it, if it still feels a little too tall, which I don't think it's going to, I do have those extra bars still. If not, then I'll end up throwing those on the website to sell. I know I mentioned doing that before, but I want to get this thing completely built and not sell any parts that I'm gonna end up needing down the road. So yeah, but clamps went together super awesome. Clearance is a little tight on the frame in some spots. You can kind of see down in there. Gets pretty tight, but doesn't hit. But I think these beefy clamps look rad on here, and every time I see this blacked out look, it looks awesome. I hate this seat on here though. Just need to change that out real quick. But yeah, I'm not sure what else I'm gonna do. I might throw that pipe on really quick because I'm really excited to see the polished header with that fresh Yoshimura exhaust with the carbon tip. So I think I'm gonna set this thing back down, throw that thing down there, and update you guys in a second. And by the way, I got my masking tape down here so this thing will sit on the stand perfectly. I need to buy like a regular pit bike stand because this thing sits really awkwardly on this stand. Well, the good news is this pipe turned out amazing. I mean, Yoshimura never ceases to amaze me, so especially with their 110 stuff is like, I don't know, it's a little like almost too flashy for what this thing is, but I mean, I guess the full build will kind of add some contrast or take away some or whatever, however you want to say that. But yeah, pipe turned out amazing. The only problem is that obviously I have to put this rag here right now for it to sit on the stand properly. I had this mangled up piece of tape on there holding it, and literally went to clean this before I threw it on, and the whole bike fell off the stand. So it literally like face planted like this way and smashed this. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but this, usually the key is up top here, and this like kind of holds this wiring harness and the rest of that stuff. So it fell over, face planted on here. This is my key fob or whatever you want to call it. I guess just keyhole. Broke all the plastic and now it doesn't work. But I did notice when I put it on that it's basically just a breaker switch, which I could have guessed that, but didn't know for sure. So what I ended up doing was just like re-looping it inside of this loom in here, and it's basically on all the time now. I mean, obviously you still have the kill switch and the starter button, which I don't want to push it. It does work. So good news is that still works. But what I ended up doing was this thing was all bent up. I don't even know where I threw it. I literally cut it off with tin snips. So I cut it off the top here, and then I just filed them down nice and flat, so it looks is still good. But oh, and the other thing was that my gas light was on there, which isn't a big deal, but I ended up just like kind of sticking it in the top of this thing, so if I'm low on gas, I can still see it. But bummer about that because the key was, I mean, it's kind of annoying having a key and a switch, but I'm kind of curious to know if this is gonna start draining or something now, or draining the battery, but I still have my Kickstarter, so I guess I won't be taking that off after all. But yeah, kind of a bummer about that, but we improvised, caught an audible, and got this thing still looking kind of cleaned up in the front. I think a little bit less wiring looks a little better, but it'll all be hidden by the number plate anyways. But oh, I actually switched the bar position too. I moved these forward and turned them around so they're kind of in more of a centered bar position, as well as kick the bars forward a little bit. But yeah, I don't really know what else I'm gonna do tonight to this thing. I still have tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon before I head over there in the evening. But I definitely need to swap out that seat. I gotta throw graphics on all of the plastics, and we'll get the wheels in the morning. So I don't know, I'm gonna kind of see what I can get done tonight still. Maybe throw the front brake on, some of the rear brake parts, and call it a night. All right, so kind of one of the biggest questions I had about this build since I started it was about the throttle cables and about the length of them. I had mentioned in like the first video or second video that I got a, I think this is a CRF 125. It's actually a throttle tube, throttle housing, which is also bigger. And then it has the normal, because these fuel injected bikes now, they have the I don't know if it's just for looks or what, 'cause you can run just one cable, but it also has a return cable. So this works just fine. You can see it turns the whatever solenoid thing. This though is kind of weird because on the stock ones they have like a pre-bent housing. It's like metal before it turns into like the soft cable, and then it runs alongside or like above the air box, and then it's supposed to come out right here and through this guide. I had mentioned that running the taller bars, I ran the stock cable the exact same way this is ran right now, through this little gap in the frame, and then you can like route it over another like support in there just to get some length out of it. This time I had to do it because with this like not having that metal housing, it like wants to go straight up. Obviously if this was turned a little bit, it wouldn't need it to do so bad, but I had to run it the same way, not because of the length's fine. I have actually plenty of length to spare turning it left and right. It's got plenty of length, so it's just because of that one bend down there. But I did end up running it through that that triangle in the frame right there, that little gap, just so it wouldn't kink really. But throttle feels fine, pull super easy. But yeah, if you guys were kind of wondering about that same, I don't know, that routing process, that's how I did it on this one too. All right, so I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. Pretty much the only other thing I did was mount the front brake, which I guess isn't that much, but it took me a little while because the powder coat was kind of getting in the clearancing the pivot there. So yeah, it took me a minute, but yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here. If you don't already, like, subscribe to the videos. I'm gonna be posting a lot more. I'd like to do another build. I wanna do a 450 build, like more of like a daily rider build after this is done. So maybe start that next week or the following week, but like I said, subscribe for those kind of videos. Tomorrow is the day I have to ride this thing, so I know it starts. I just started it up, so that's fine. The only thing I have to do tomorrow morning is mount those graphics onto the plastics, put that seat cover on, and that'll be, aesthetically, that'll be done. I gotta get some grip glue, that's why I haven't put grips on it yet. And then I'm gonna do that all before W, which is the wheel company that I work with, before they're open. So then I'm gonna run over to W, pick the wheels up, get the tires mounted. Also the brake drums are with the hubs because I want them to be the same coating. So then assemble the rear brake and front brake. And yeah, all that before probably 2 or 3, which is a lot to do, but we have all morning and obviously noon and a little bit afternoon. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I don't mention I have to put the Thrill Seekers seat cover on, which is, that one's really dusty, so it's a bad example, but what's on the L, exact same seat cover. And yeah, then we'll be all wrapped up and we'll be able to ride this thing and hopefully get some GoPro footage while we're there doing the 110 straight rhythm race. But thank you again for watching. Like I said before, subscribe, like the videos, and we'll see you in the next one.
Aside from my soul.